Let us wait for the others to join, then we'll start the class, okay? Hello students, welcome to the class. Before going to start the class, can you tell me whether I'm audible and screen is visible? Then we'll start the class, okay? Fine. So I will launch the poll. Kindly tell me whether I'm audible and screen is visible. 1 minute. Fine. I'm audible, right? Yes. Today we are going to start the new chapter. Okay, let us start the class. Can you tell me whether I'm audible and my screen is also visible, guys? Then we'll start the class. Okay, fine. Let us start the class. Today we are going to start the new chapter, that is plant growth and development. Okay. We all studied in the morphology of the flowering plant, right? We have studied about the fruit, we have studied about the root and also the leaves and everything we have studied, right? So how this all the thing will came from? Without the development, is that going to be possible, guys? Can you tell me? Answer me in the chat box whether it is possible or not. No, right? So these all the things are nothing but the product of the development, right? Fine. So let us start the class. Today we are going to talk about this all the thing about the development of the plant. Fine. Here is the question for you guys. Germination takes place when the. So first carefully listen the question. Germination takes place when the option A, previously dormant embryo is activated. Option B, cotyledon emergence above the ground. Option C, hypocotyle or epicotyle emerges above the ground. Option D, vascular tissue begins to transport. Fine, you can answer me in the chat box. You can answer me in the chat box, which is the correct answer. No, think once again. No problem. Think once again. Very easy question. Very easy. If you saw the farmers, they will not sow the seeds immediately. Guys, so let us answer to this question. Option A is the correct answer. Okay, 1 minute. One minute. Yeah, option A is the correct answer. Whenever you are looking at this, 1 minute. Yeah. So here you can see the correct answer is the previously dormant embryo is activated. So whenever the seeds which is in the when we grown when the first time the seeds was we have taken, that seeds are not in the seeds are in the dormant condition, right guys? Can you tell me which hormone is involved in the dormant condition? Dormant means it is not going to be germinate. Okay. So here the mainly hormone involved is ABA, abscinic acid. Okay. So on this time, the seeds are in the dormant condition. So when this dormant condition was removed, then only the seeds are going to be germinate. So that is the reason option A is the correct answer. Previously dormant embryo is activated when we remove the dormancy. When we remove the dormancy, on the time it is going to be activate. Okay. When we remove the dormancy of the seed, then only it is going to be activated. Then in the option B, they are telling that cotyledon emerges above the ground. After the germination, only the cotyledon is going to be emerge outside, right? Is it right or not, guys? After the germination only, the seeds are going to be emerged. The cotyledons is going to be emerged after the germination only, right? So that's why this is not the correct answer. Then coming to the option C, hypocotyl and epicotyl emerges above the ground. So this is also after the germination only. This is post germination process, right guys? This is also not the correct answer. In the option D, they are telling that vascular tissue begins to transport the fluid. No, dormant means on the time, dormant means what? On that condition, the seeds will go to the inactive condition. Okay. Inactive condition, or we will call it as a where the metabolism will be slows down and it is not going to be grow or it is not going to be germinate. That we will call it as a dormant condition in the seeds, guys. For example, you have seen about the hibernation and the estivation, right? Have you heard about the hibernation and the estivation? In the living world, I think adaptation you have seen. In the adaptation you have read hibernation, right? On that time, the organism are not going to be undergo the reproduction or nothing, right? Only, okay, fine, no problem. In the hibernation and the estivation, we can see in the animals, hibernation we can see in the polar bears, okay? During the very cold environment, on the time, what it will do? It will go for the hibernation. It will go and hide somewhere where it will avoid the winter, where the metabolism will be slows down. It will be not faster, slows down only for survival. It will be only for the survival. Okay. That we will call it as a dormant condition. Here also what will happen? The seeds will undergo the dormant condition where the metabolism will be slows up. Okay. Metabolism will be slows up where it is living only, but the metabolism only slows up. Okay. That we will call it as a dormant condition. Whereas in the option D, they are telling that vascular tissue begins to transport the fluid. No, it is also not the correct answer. The correct answer is the previously dormant embryo is activated. Before it is inactive, it is in the dormant condition. So after removing the dormancy, it become activated. So that's why option A is the correct answer. Here you can see, guys. In the germination, there will be two types. One is the epigeal and another one is the hypogeal. Epigeal means, epi means what? Can you think, guys, what do you mean by epi? Epi means what? Above, right? Epi means above. If the germination was happening above the ground, here you can see above the ground, two cotyledons you can see, right? That type of germination we will call it as a epigeal germination. Okay. And second one is a hypogeal germination. Hypo means what? Below, right? If the germination was happened below the ground, that we will call it as the hypogeal germination. Hypogeal germination means germination will happen below the ground. Germination below the ground, where the cotyledon we can see in the below the ground only. So whereas the hypogeal means germination above the ground, we can see the cotyledons. Germination above ground, above the ground. Do you understood this, guys? Do you understood this? Are you okay this question? Are you okay with this question? Do you understood? To give me thumbs up or something, then only we can come to know whether you understood this or not. No, give me thumbs up or something fast. Fine. Let us go to the next question. The question is, the correct sequence of development process in the plant is option A, cell division, elongation, differentiation, maturation. Option B, elongation, cell division, maturation, differentiation. Option C, differentiation, cell division, maturation, elongation. Option D, cell division, differentiation, maturation, elongation. You can answer me in the chat box, guys. Which one is the correct answer? Answer me fast in the chat box. Which is the correct answer? Very easy question, right? You can easily answer to this question fast. Very good. Very good, Yasmin. Then what about others? But think once again, which is the correct answer? It is not the correct answer. What, Janvi Akola? Can you ask in English your doubt? Fine. Let us answer to this question. Whenever the development process is going, the first will be the cell division. Right, guys? The first will be the cell division, and here you can. The first is the cell division. Second one is the elongation. Third one is the differentiation. Then finally it will undergo the maturation. Right? So the correct process or the correct sequence is the option A. Cell division is the first, then cell elongation, and third one is the differentiation, then fourth one is the maturation. Do you understood this, guys? Fine. Let us go to the next. Okay. Whenever the plant growth is undergoing, we have studied over the double fertilization, right, in the angiosperm. So after the fertilization, what will happen? The egg cell is fuses with the gametophyte, that is a sperm cell, right? It will give rise to the zygote. Then the zygote is going to be elongate and it is going to be divided into two cells, right? One cell is the embryonic cell. Then the second one is the suspensor cell, right? Suspensor cell. So now what will happen? The embryonic cell will give rise to the embryo. It started to divide mitotically, right, guys? It will started to divide mitotically, and it will give rise to the one stage that we will call it as a globular stage. Globular stage, right? After the globular stage, which is the next stage? Can anyone tell me? Which is the next cell, guys? Next stage. People from the YouTube, you can answer me in the chat box. Which is the next stage? After the globular stage, what is the next stage? Answer me, YouTube students, you can answer me in the YouTube chat box. Next stage is the heart stage, right? Heart stage, it looks like the heart, right? Heart stage. And the third one is the torpedo stage. Torpedo. Then it will give rise to the embryonic stage. Okay. So then it will give rise to the, you can see here, the two cotyledons will be visible. Okay. Fine. So these are stages. Then it will give rise to the plant. Old adult one it will give. So that one is the first one is the globular. Second one is the heart. Third one is the torpedo stage. Then it will give rise to the growing plant. So that's why you can easily remember like this. G, H, T. G means globular, H means heart, T means torpedo. Okay? Fine. Do you understood this, guys? Can you give me thumbs up, or if you understood means can you tell me yes or no? Then we'll go to the next slide. Be active in the class. I want answer from you, right? Answer me fast. Okay, fine. Let us go to the next. Okay, plant growth. Very good, Janvi Mahir. I want this type of the answer, at least. You are interacting with me, right? Okay. Let us talk about the plant growth. What do you mean by growth? Let us leave the plant. What do you mean by growth? Growth is an irreversible, permanent increase in the size of an organ, or it's a part that we will call it as the growth, right? What do you mean by growth? Growth is the irreversible, permanent increase in the size of an organ, or it's part of an individual cell it may be a cell, or it may be an organ. The growth is irreversible increase, right? So that involves the metabolic process. Which are the metabolic process, guys? Can you recall which are the metabolic process? Growth is irreversible, right? It is a irreversible, and it is a permanent increase. It is a permanent increase. It may be an organ or it may be a cell, right? So that we will call it as a plant growth. For example, now we are grown up, right? Can we able to grow to the childhood again, guys? Can you tell me? I like childhood. Everyone will think, right? We want to go to our childhood back. Can you think, guys? Can you able to go to the childhood back? Can you tell me yes or no? Can we go to the childhood back? Can we again become a baby? No, not possible, right? So like that same thing, once the growth was happened, it is an irreversible change. We can't able to again go back to the previous stage, right? Yes. So that we will call it as a plant growth. That is same in the plant also. Here, the growth always due to the metabolic process. What are the metabolic process, guys? Some of all the reaction which will take place in the cytoplasma. That we will call it as a metabolic reaction, right? I think you know about the anabolism and catabolism. Right? Anabolism means it will get the constructive reaction. Catabolism reaction is a destructive reaction. Can you tell me the growth is result of anabolism or catabolism? Can you tell me, guys, growth is result of anabolism or catabolism? In the growth, both the things is going to be taken place, whereas the anabolism and catabolism. But the anabolism will be more in case of growth. Remember that. Okay. Anabolism is more. Okay. Both the things will be there. Anabolism will be more. Anabolism is more in the growth. Okay. Fine. So let us go to the next. Here is the one question for you guys. Growth occurs when? Option A, anabolism is higher than the catabolism. Option B, catabolism is higher than the anabolism. Option C, protoplasmic synthesis is more than apoplasmic synthesis. Option D, apoplasmic synthesis is more than protoplasmic synthesis. You can answer me in the chat box. Which one is the correct answer? Quick, guys, very easy question. Now only we have studied about this. Very good, Yasmin. Very good, Mahek. Yes, very good. Yes. Which is the correct answer, guys? Option A, right? Yes. The growth occurs when anabolism is higher than the catabolism. But both the things will be there. When the anabolism is more. Very good, Jane Miyakola. Yes. Option A is the correct answer. Catabolism is higher than the anabolism? No, it is not the correct answer. Then coming to the protoplasmic. Guys, protoplasmic means if you take the cell, there is a nucleus is there, right? The nucleus is there. In the nucleus also there is a fluid is there, right? That we will call it as a nucleoplasma, right? And here the cytoplasma will be there. Cytoplasma, right? Both the things, cytoplasma plus nucleoplasma, together we will call it as protoplasma. Remember, protoplasma. So this is a living thing in the cell, okay? When we are talking about the apoplasmic is the non-living thing that is present in the cell. For example, if you take the cell wall, right? Cell wall is a non-living thing. Okay, here what they are asking, the protoplasmic synthesis is more than the apoplasmic synthesis. No, it is not the correct answer. Apoplasmic synthesis is more than the protoplasmic synthesis. No, it is not related to this. The growth is related to the metabolism, that to anabolism is higher than the catabolism. Okay. Fine. Let us go to the next. The plant growth is indeterminate. When you see the any plant, is that plant growth can be tell that okay, it will be grow for this inch only. It is going to be this centimeter only. This plant is going to be grow. Do you having any determinate growth, guys, in the plant? Have you have any determinate growth in the plants? The plant length, can we tell determinedly that the plant will go for only this 10 centimeter or 20 centimeter like that? No, it is not possible, right? So that's why we will call it as indeterminate. We can't able to calculate that, okay? Calculate that. So that is the indeterminate, means Here you can see the growth continues till the plant life. The growth will continue till the plant life, till the plant survive. That we will call it as the indeterminate growth. Okay. So where you can see the indeterminate growth, guys, in the plant? Can you answer me? Where you can see the indeterminate growth in the plant? Can you think? Yeah, seen in the anatomy of the flowering plant. These all the things. Think. In the shoot apical and the root apical meristem, right? Where you seen these things? That is the root apical meristem in the root and also in the shoot, right? So that is the indeterminate growth. That is the growth will continue till the plant survive or till the plant life. That we will call it as the growth. That is the indeterminate growth. The plant grows from the seed to the tree due to the apical, shoot apical meristem and also the root apical meristem. For example, if you take this the thing, plant, this is growing, the plant is growing due to the shoot apical meristem here, and the root is going downwards due to the root apical meristem, right, guys? So the growth of the plant was increases, right? The length of the plant was increases. That is due to both the root apical meristem and the shoot apical meristem. Shoot apical meristem. Okay. So this is due to the indeterminate growth, mainly due to the shoot apical and the root apical meristem. Meristem involved in the growth is known as the indeterminate growth, indeterminate meristem. And that growth we will call it as indeterminate growth. The meristems which we are talking about, the root apical and the shoot apical, that we will call it as the intermediate meristems. Okay, growth we will call it the intermediate growth, that we can only see in the plant root and the plant shoot. Then what about the leaf and what about the fruit, guys? What about the growth of the fruit and what about the growth of the leaf? Is that determinate or non-determinate? Can you tell me? Is that growth of the fruit and growth of the leaves are determinate or non-determinate? Answer me in the chat box. YouTube students, you can answer me in the YouTube chat box. Answer me fast. Determinate. Okay. Yes. So when we are talking about the fruit and the leaf that are the determinate, we will study about that. So here you can see, guys. So 1 minute. Yeah. This is the shoot apical meristem we have taken. Here we can see the epidermis and there is the cortex, and here you can see the vascular bundle. So here there is no cambium is present, right? The no cambium is present means it is going to be help in the growth of the plant. That is the increasing in the length of the plant, right? So that we can see in the primary meristematic or in the primary growth, right? In the primary growth, the cambium is absent. Cambium is absent here, right? Then we are talking about the secondary growth. What do you mean by secondary growth? The plant increasing in the length, that we will call it the primary growth. If the plant is increasing in the girth, see here the girth is increasing means we can see in the gymnosperm and also in the dicotyledon plant, right? That we will call it the secondary growth. The secondary growth is mainly due to the lateral meristematic tissue, right, guys? That is due to the secondary meristematic tissue. That is the cambium is present in between. See here, the cambium is present between here. It will give rise to the lateral increase. That is the increase in the girth of the plant. Okay, so that we can see in the increase in the girth of the plant. Increase in girth of plants. Okay, fine. So let us talk about the determinate growth. I have told you does not continue throughout the life of the plant. Is that the fruit is going to be increase its growth till the plant life? No, not possible, right? All the fruit you can see it will be of the same size only. After that, sometime the growth of the fruit is going to be stopped. The growth of the leaf is going to be stopped, right? That we will call it the determinate growth. In the plant, only shoot apical and the root apical will shows to the indeterminate growth, whereas the other will shows the determinate growth. That is the fruit and the leaf. That is mainly due to the intercalary meristem. Remember, guys. Okay, the growth stops at the particular point in that animals. For example, you can see in the animals also for after the 18 years, the growth will be not there, right? So it will stop at the particular age. Like that, in the plant, the growth will be stopped at the particular time. That we will call it the determinate growth. That we can see in the leaf and the fruit. Okay? Do you understood this? Fine. So let us go to the growth. Growth is measurable, guys. Growth is quantitative, right? We will call it as growth is measurable, right? It is a quantitative. Quantitative, we can measure the growth. How can we measure the growth? I have planted one small plant, okay? I have planted a small plant. After some time, now this is about the 1 centimeter, not 1 centimeter. For example, I will take 5 centimeter. Now the plant was grow to the, after like 1 month, the plant was grow to the 10 centimeters. Then how can I measure the growth of the plant, guys? How can I measure the growth of the plant, whether that was growing or not? By the length, I can measure the length of the plant, right? Before it is this much length, now the plant was measured, now the plant length was this much. I can easily measure that. Yes or no? Can you tell me? Can I measure or not? It is possible to measure or not? Yes, it is possible, right? So this is a 5 centimeter before, 5 centimeter, this is the 10 centimeter. The growth was happen 5 centimeter between the time that, right? Between that time, so there is a 5 centimeter increase in the length of the plant. We can measure length of the plant, right? I can weight the diameter of the plant, right? Here you can see here, this scale we will call it the vernier scale. 1 minute, yeah. Here you can see that scale we will call it as the vernier scale. By taking this scale, the round object can be measured. Okay. So here I can measure the diameter of the plant, right? So that we will call it as the vernier scale. Diameter, the girth of the plant is also measured here. And the weight of the plant, that is the dry weight, and also the fresh weight. Dry weight and the fresh weight can be calculated, right? And the diameter is going to be calculated. Diameter, right, guys? So these all the things can be calculated, right? This is what we will call it as the growth is measurable. But if you take the cell is there, the protoplasma is increasing. Now the cell was reached to this size. Can we able to measure that, guys? The protoplasma of the cell? It is not possible to measure the protoplasma which is increased in the cell. But we can tell that the volume of the cell is increased, right? Here we can study the volume of the cell increased also, volume. Okay, fine. This is about the how we can measure the growth of the plant. And here you can see in the maize, it is the example for the maize root. In the maize root, you know, the cell for 1 hour, there will be of 17,500 cell will be divided. About in 1 hour, there will be of 17,500 cells will be produced in the 1 hour. Just think how the growth rate is, right? In 1 hour, 17,500 cells. Let us talk about the watermelon. In the watermelon, guys, the one cell, if I take the one cell, it will grow to the reach to the volume up to the, can you tell me up to the how much weight, guys? Up to what weight it can be increased? The growth of the watermelon, 3,50,000 times. It will be grow for about 3,50,000 times increase in the volume. This is in the case of volume. 1 minute. In the case of volume. Okay, fine. So remember this, maize root 17,500 cells, whereas the watermelon, there is a 3,50,000 cells. Sorry, 3,50,000. The one cell will increase in its volume. Okay, fine. Let us go to the phases of the growth. There will be 3 phases of the growth, guys. The phases will be, first one is the meristematic zone. Meristematic zone. Meristematic zone. Second one is the elongation zone. And third one is the differentiation zone or the maturation zone. Maturation zone. Here you can see in the meristematic region, what are the characteristics of the cell. So the cells will be there. Just saying, in the tip of the plant, the meristematic region will be there. what are the characteristics of the cell? The cells will be small, okay, and the cells are having the abundant cytoplasma. It is having abundant cytoplasma, and it is having no vacuole. No vacuole is there. No vacuole will be there, okay, and the cell wall will be thin. Cell wall is thin means which cell wall will be there, guys? Cellulose, right? It is made up of the cellulose only. That in the case of the cells which are present in the meristematic region. Okay, small, abundant cytoplasma, no vacuole, and the cell wall is very thin. It is made up of cellulose. Then coming to the second zone, that is the elongation zone. So here the vacuolation was started. The vacuoles started to grow. Vacuolation was started here, and the secondary cell wall started to deposit, guys. Secondary cell wall started to deposit, and cell will be elongate. Okay, the cell will started to elongate. And coming to the third stage, that is a maturation. That is away from the meristematic zone. What are the things will be there here? Here in the maturation zone, the cell will have the definite shape. Okay, it is having the size. It is having the size is definite here. Okay, and coming to the maturation, it was matured, and the cell wall, the secondary cell wall, you can see the secondary cell wall is consisting of suberin and lignin. Okay, these are the secondary wall material. The cells which are in the maturation zone having the secondary cell wall, and also the cell is grown. For example, in the meristematic region, it was this much small, means now in the maturation zone, that was grown. Okay, so those are all the things we can see in the zones: meristematic and the elongation zone and the maturation zone. Do you understood this thing, guys? Can you tell me whether you understood this or not? Fine. So let us go to the growth. The growth will be, what do you mean by growth rate? Growth rate, can you tell me, guys, what do you mean by growth rate? Can anyone tell me what do you mean by growth rate? Answer me in the chat box, guys. You two people, you can answer me here also. Increased growth per unit time. Increased rate per growth. Increased growth per unit time, we will call it as a growth rate. So here we can see the two types of the growth rate, guys. The first one is the arithmetic growth. Arithmetic growth, and the second one is geometric growth. Geometric growth. Okay, so here remember, the geometric growth is a growth where the animals in the natural environment will show. Okay, animals in natural environment will show this type of the growth, that is a geometric growth. Okay, let us talk one by one. What do you mean by growth? So here you can see, guys, the plant will grow in every generation. The daughter cell will be there. Here you can see the first cell will go to the one cell. The one cell, when it will divide by the mitosis, it will divide by the mitosis. How many cells will be produced, guys? If it is undergoing the mitosis, means it will produce the two cells, right? So what will happen here? The one cell will retain its meristematic activity. Okay, the one cell will retain its meristematic activity, whereas another cell will undergo the maturation. It will undergo the maturation. One cell will undergo it will retain the meristematic activity. It will undergo division once again. But one cell will tell that no, I am not going to be divided. Enough, I am not going to be divided. I will mature. Okay, that cell is one. Okay, that we will call it as the arithmetic growth. So here also you can see the meristematic activity which is retained by the one cell. It is going to be undergo the division. It will give rise to the two cell. One is the two cell. It is going to be give, right? Again, what will happen? The one cell will retain the meristematic activity, whereas the pink color, whereas the another cell will undergo the maturation. So this pink color cell will undergo once again division. It will give rise to the two cell, right? Whereas the one cell will retain the meristematic activity, whereas the another cell will undergo the maturation, right? So like this type of the growth, we will call it as the arithmetic growth. Okay. So here you can see in every generation, one new daughter cells are produced. One daughter cell retain the meristematic activity, that is a pink color cell, right? Then other cell is differentiate and undergo the maturation, that is a green color cell. Okay, that we will call it the arithmetic growth. So two cell will be there, one cell will retain the activity, whereas the another cell will mature. Okay, this growth pattern will repeat. Okay, and here you can see if we draw the if you draw in the plot, we can see here on the x-axis we can see the time, on the y-axis you can see the number of the cell. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5, this is an time, and this is the number of the cell, guys. Yes, Yasmin, I will repeat here. Once again, I will repeat. 1 minute. See here, in the arithmetic growth, what will happen? The one cell will be there here, right? The one cell will be there. This one cell will give rise to the two cell, right? Two cell. But what will happen? In this two cell, one cell will mature. Okay, one cell is going to be mature. Whereas this another cell, it is having the meristematic activity. It will divide into two cells. Okay. Again, what will happen? This cell will mature. Again, this cell is going to be undergo again division. This cell will mature. This cell will undergo again division. Okay. This is what we will call as arithmetic division. Do you understood this, Yasmin? Do you understood this now? Okay. Fine. So now when we plot this graph, it will give rise to the linear growth. Okay. Here you can see the growth is linear, straight line. And this we will call it as, here you can see, this is the, growth. Yes. Yeah, I will tell that also. Okay. Here the growth rate is constant. If I take the growth rate, here it is a constant growth rate in the arithmetic division. For example, if I take in 1 hour, the one cell is formed. After the 1 hour, here the gap is 1 hour, right? 1 hour. In the second hour, only one cell is formed. In the third hour, here you can see that time 1 hour gap, right? Again, here the one cell is formed. Here it will give rise to the constant cell, right? Constant growth. That we will call it as the arithmetic growth. And here we can symbolize this by this formula. LT is equal to L0 plus RT. LT means what? When I am measuring that is the time, that we will call the length at the time when I am measuring that. Okay. And L0 is when before I am measuring the length, what is the length? For example, if I take the 5 centimeter is the length before, okay, before, after the 10 days, the length was about 10 centimeters, right? That we will call it as a LT. Okay. Then before it was the L0. L0 is the 5 centimeter, like that. Okay. The length at the time T, L0 is the length at the time at the zero time, and the R is the growth rate per unit time. Okay. Fine. Let us go to the geometric growth. Geometric growth is very easy, guys. Here you can see the plant grows in every generation. So here what is happening? The one cell will be there, right? The one cell is there. The one cell will divide to give the two cell, right? Now this two cell is also going to be divided, right? This two cell, this is a one cell, right? The second cell, both the cell is going to be divided. Here also you can see this both the cell is going to be divided. This also both the cell is going to be divided. Here also both the cell is going to be divided. That type of the growth we will call it as the geometric growth. Okay. That type of the growth we will call it the geometric growth. In the geometric growth, we can see the three phases. Okay. In the geometric growth, you can see three phases. One phase we will call it the lag phase. Second one is the log phase or the exponential phase. And third one we will call it the stationary phase. What will happen here, guys? All the animals will show this type of the growth. So here you can see the one cell be here. Okay, starting. So the graph will be, we will plot against the time on the x-axis and the size or the organ on the y-axis. Okay. So you're starting very small, single cell, very limited number of the cells will be there, right? But abundant nutrients will be there. On that time, only small cells will be there, right? Small number of the cells. For that time, what will happen? The growth will be slow. The growth will be slow here. In the lag phase, what will happen? The growth will be slow. Okay, but nutrients will be high only. Nutrients is there only, but the growth is slow on that time because only limited number of the cells will be there. No, that's why this is a lag phase. Lag means lagging. Lagging means what? Slow growth. Okay. Now the second phase will come. That is a log phase. In the log phase, what will happen? The nutrients are very high. The cells is also more now. Now it is started to divide rapidly, fastly. Okay. Nutrients are high, right? It will divide rapidly. Okay. But at some time, what will happen? When the nutrients become low, when the nutrients is diminishes, very low, on that time, what will happen? It the growth was stops. Okay. The growth was stops. And that we will call it as a stationary phase. Okay. That we will call it as a stationary phase. So stationary phase will be attained due to the limited resources. Due to the limited resources, it will reach the stationary phase. Okay. In the lag phase, very slow, whereas in the exponential growth, a rapid growth will be seen in the exponential growth or in the log phase, where the nutrients is also very high, where the number of the cell is also very high on that time. Whereas in the stationary phase, it will show the nutrients will be very limited. And here, this shape of the curve we will call it as the sigmoidal curve, S-shaped curve, sigmoidal curve or S-shaped curve. Remember, guys, it will be like S shape, right? It is like the S shape. That's why we will call it the sigmoidal curve. Okay. And here the geometric growth can be tell by the formula, that is the weight. Okay. W1 is equal to W0 ERT. W0 ERT. So what is the W1 here? The size at the time T. The size at the time T, when we are measuring after 1 week or 1 month, we are measuring, right? That is the WT, W1. And W0, before what is the weight of that? Before, for example, 0 is the weight. Yes, that is the weight W0. Okay. And what do you mean by E, guys? E is the base of the natural logarithm. E is the base of the natural logarithm. You know what is the T? That is the time of the growth. The time of the growth. What is the time? How much the time? 1 week, 7 days. That is the time. And R is the growth rate. It is the relative growth rate. Relative growth rate. Relative growth rate. So here you can see, guys, this is arithmetic growth. So how it will be the arithmetic growth rate? Here you can see 2 cells will be there, right? One cell is undergoing the mesomatic activity, whereas the another cell is going to give the another cell is going to be mature. So this is about the arithmetic growth, right? Here you can see in the geometric growth, the 2 cells is there, but 2 cells are simultaneously. 2 cells are there. 2 cells are divided by the mitosis, and it is given the 4 cell. No cell is going to be mature here or differentiate. Again, it is undergoing the mitosis. Again, it is going to give a 8 cell. Again, mitosis 16 cell. Again, mitosis 32 cell. No cell is undergoing the maturation here in the geometric phase, right? Then, what is the growth of the overall growth? Overall growth, guys, both arithmetic and the geometric. See here, when we are in the embryo state, before the embryo formation, what will happen here? The zygote is there, right? The zygote is a single cell. The zygote cell is the one cell. It is undergo mitosis. It will give rise to the 2 cell, right? And again it will undergo division and it will give the 4 cell. Again it will give rise to the 8 cell, right? The starting stage of the division, the starting stage of the growth is geometric division, right? No cell is undergoing the maturation. The starting cell development is the geometric. The later, here you can see in the later, this is the growth. So here the sum of the cell is still having the meristematic activity that will divide, but the other cells all are matured. In our body also you can see all of the cell is matured. Only some of the cells retain the activity, right? That is a meristematic activity. That we will call it as the arithmetic. In the starting, it will give rise to the starting development. Starting development, it will show the geometric growth, whereas after that, so after it will shows the arithmetic growth. Arithmetic growth. Remember this, guys. Okay. See here in this plant. So this is the starting phase. Okay. This in the starting, right? So that's why this is the shows that geometric growth. Geometric growth. Geometric growth. Okay. And here you can see later stage of the life. It will shows the arithmetic growth. Arithmetic growth. Remember this. Okay. Do you understood this? Arithmetic growth and the geometric growth. Do you understood this, guys? Do you understood this? Fine. So let us study other things in the next class. Okay. There is a homework question for you guys. Go through this question. There is a homework question for you. Fine. Thank you so much.